Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome to my latest Star Wars book review, where today we'll be doing something a little bit different, a little bit more silly, I guess you could say, a little bit more outside the box. I'm going to be reviewing the original Star Wars trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6. Now, I'm not going to be reviewing the movies, which are cinematic masterpieces and classics, and really the inspiration for me even doing these reviews in the first place. And I won't be doing the novel adaptations because I've already done them. Go check out my previous reviews. But here, I'm going to be checking out some very different adaptations and ones that are a little unique and ones that kind of tickled my fancy when I first heard they existed. These are William Shakespeare's Star Wars. These are, for lack of a better term, Shakespeareized versions of the original Star Wars trilogy. You get that nice little picture of Darth Vader there. This is episode 4, retitled Verily A New Hope. Then we get episode 5, nice little shot of Yoda there. The Empire Striketh Back. And then finally, episode 6, The Jedi Doth Return. And isn't that a lovely portrait of Jabba the Hutt right there? Now, little thing you all should probably know about me before I talk about these. I actually am a bit of a Shakespeare fan. I read a lot of Shakespeare's work when I was in high school, and I was a big fan of it. I loved Macbeth. I wrote my senior thesis on Othello. The first one I read was Julius Caesar, fell in love with it. Hamlet I enjoyed. Never read Romeo and Juliet, which is weird. My freshman class in high school, you either read... you were either in the group that read Romeo and Juliet or you were in the group that read Julius Caesar, and I fortunately was in the class that read Julius Caesar because I think I got the better end of the deal there because Julius Caesar's awesome. Et tu, Brute, beware the Ides of March. I learned what soothsayers were because of that play. But to prove my devotion to William Shakespeare, this is something that I have owned since high school, the complete works of William Shakespeare, which admittedly haven't read it all. I've read Midsummer's Night's Dream, I've read... all the plays I just mentioned. Never read Romeo and Juliet. I should probably get on that. Jeez. There he is right there. Good old William. Yeah, I got all the plays, got the poems. Yeah, God, really good. But like I said, Othello's a really good one. Macbeth's a really good one. Hamlet, obviously, is probably... I think more ink has been spilled talking about Hamlet than literally any other piece of literature in existence. So, yeah, I am a Shakespeare fan. So to see 3 of my favorite movies molded into something in the vernacular and prose of a William Shakespeare play, I found to be really interesting, and it really caught my attention. And these plays are written by Ian Desher, I believe it's pronounced, and he actually does a really good job of changing the movies and transforming them into something that works within the context of a William Shakespeare style play. And one thing that you'll notice about these, if you read them, they have these wonderful illustrations that capture the images of the story. This is from A New Hope, where Darth Vader's choking out the rebel captain. Really striking image. You can see there. And there was another one I really liked. Probably my favorite one came from Empire. Let's pull that out. During the Vader-Luke duel, you get this illustration right here, which is really nice. I think that image captures kind of the scope of the duel, if you will. And so you get those as well. So great artwork to go along with these wonderfully retold stories. And I'm not going to sit here and go into specific story details about each entry, each episode, because... you're Star Wars fans, you know. If you're watching this video, you know how all 3 movies play out. But for me personally, as someone who did grow up reading Shakespeare and also grew up loving Star Wars, something like this is a huge treat. And I'm like, oh, this is neat. And again, as I've said a million times on my own channel, I like things that are neat. And that's pretty much what this is. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It doesn't do anything that different or that dynamic. It just tells the Star Wars story in a completely different way. And if you're a literature buff and if you're a Shakespearean buff, this is something I highly recommend because I think it does it very well. And add some humor into it, but also like that Shakespearean, kind of prose and vernacular really punctuates the more dramatic moments as well. To talk about the humor, one thing that they do, they give dialogue and interior monologues to characters that don't speak in the original trilogy. For example, R2-D2. who in the original movies communicates with beep beep, whistle whistle, beep beep beep, and beep beep beep, beep, and that is sometimes translated by C-3PO, but here we actually do get interior dialogue from R2-D2, and that creates some really funny moments here. This is a moment from A New Hope, very early in the film, where they both are walking away from the escape pod and ultimately decide to go their different ways in the Tatooine wasteland. And let me see if I can find a great example of it. Had it right here. Here we go. Okay. All right, so it does have beep, 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 whistle, beep, beep, meep, beep, beep. Would you like to see that on stage? Just you're watching a Shakespearean play and one of the characters talks beep, beep, whistle, whistle, beep, 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 meep, beep, beep, beep. And C-3PO, where dost thou think thou ghosts? R2-D2, beep, 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 aside. So this is interior, a soliloquy, if you will, from R2-D2. Now I shall leave his company a while. Belike my absence shall alleviate his obstinate resolve and teach him thoughts of kindness, care, and good humility. So yeah, R2-D2, he's not having any of C-3PO shit. He ain't having none of that. And to get those little insights into R2's character, I think was really neat. And just a nice way to add a different flavor to these rather than just a straight line-by-line adaptation of the original movie. So you do get something a little bit different out of these. There's also another scene in Empire, a character that typically has no dialogue in these movies beyond roar, roar, growl, growl. The Wampa famously attacked Luke Skywalker at the beginning of the movie and then gets his arm chopped off. Well, in the arm chopping scene, we have enter Wampa. Luke cuts off the Wampa's arm and exits quickly. And then we get a little speech from the Wampa. Alas, how I am by this man abused. Could I, for seeking feud, not be excused? It seemeth that this Wampa shall have strife. Thus gentles all, have pity on my life. Oh, so we get a nice little rhyming poem there as well. So yeah, those little things like that, those little details, I don't know if people find them funny. I think they're hilarious. So again, getting that nice little moment from the Wampa and getting a bunch of little insights from R2-D2 and a few other characters as well, I think it makes it a lot more fun and gives it a little bit more of an added dimension to what you would normally get from a Star Wars, movie adaptation or an adaptation of the movie into print. Yeah, stuff like that makes it really fun to read. And like I said, it also highlights the more dramatic moments very well. And I'm going to use Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader as the best examples of that because they really do have the most interesting dramatic moments in the original trilogy. When you look at the famous reveal, I am your father, and one of my personal favorite scenes in Return of the Jedi, where it's just Luke and Vader walking down a hallway talking to each other. Luke has just turned himself in to be captured and taken to the Emperor. He tries to sway Darth Vader back to the good side, but Darth Vader's just not having it, and they have a little talk there. And even at 5 years old, I remember just hanging off every single word that they were saying to each other. It's one of the most powerful scenes, I think, in the original Star Wars trilogy, and by extension, Star Wars as a whole. And really goes to show like the high quality of writing that was done in those original movies. But to show what I'm talking about, how it's presented here in the text, we do have the lightsaber duel from Empire Strikes Back. And want to make sure I'm getting the right thing here. Probably should have marked these a little bit better, right? Okay, here we go. I found it. All right, Vader, thou shalt find no escape. Do not make me destroy thee. Great importance shalt thou have within the Empire's power, and thine own shall only grow with time. I prithee thee, join with me, and I your training shall complete. I'm not a great Shakespearean actor, obviously. With me and I shall your training complete. With our strength is combined, we shall conclude this bitter conflict and bring order to the galaxy entire. Luke, I never shall join with thee. I would rather be destroyed. Aside, Darth Vader. The boy doth admirably keep his head, but now I shall unleash the final blow. To Luke, if thou be knewest all the power of the dark side, Obi-Wan hath never told thee of what happened to thy father. Oh, he hath spoken much, and he hath told me of the truth, that thou didst slay him, aye, and without cause or mercy, murderer most vile and wretched. No, I am thy father. Nay, 'tis not true. It is impossible. Pray, search thy feelings, Luke. Thou knowest it is true. Nay! Which, wouldn't you like to see Mark Hamill deliver that? That'd be great. So yeah, again, like, turns out it really is like a marriage of best of both worlds, where this really does feel like something that would have been written by Shakespeare. Or if you resurrected William Shakespeare and asked him to adapt the Star Wars film trilogy into his own vision and with his own writing style, it would probably look something like that. And finally, I do want to bring up that scene I was talking about earlier between Luke and Vader from Return of the Jedi. Again, just to highlight more of the dramatic elements in this that are handled very well. All right. If green doth mark me as a man naive, this is Luke talking, I'll claim the color proudly. Come with me, my father, turn toward the good and live. Old Obi-Wan once thought as thou dost think. Thou canst not understand the power of the dark side. I shall be obedient unto my master. I must and will. Luke, I shall not turn toward the dark side, and thou shalt verily be forced to kill me then. Vader, aside. Confusion be thou gone. 'Tis madness this. Ooh, so Vader's having some conflict. To Luke, if that shall be thy destiny, so be it. Oh, search thy feelings, father. Thou canst not do this to me. I feel the conflict rise within thee. Let thy hatred go. Be free. Vader, it is too late for me, my son. I shall deliver thee unto the Emperor. 'Tis he who shall reveal to thee the true and powerful nature of the Force. He is thy master now, and thou shalt serve him well. Great stuff. It sounds really good. I know it doesn't sound great coming from me personally, but on paper it looks really good. And again, like reading that text, the images from the movie pop right into my head. So they really tapped into something really good here, where I think it satisfies Shakespeare fans. I think it satisfies Star Wars fans. I think it's funny. I think it's clever. I think it's a neat idea, and it makes for 3 very fun reads. Now, I should also note that they have done similar adaptations for the prequel films, episodes 1, 2, and 3, and they have also done them for episodes 7 and 8, with, I presume, 1 for 9 on the way when that film's ultimately released. I have not read those. Not really interested in reading those, because really, when it comes down to it, the ones that I would want to see adapted in a Shakespearean style drama would be the original trilogy. Not that I have hatred towards the other 3, the prequel films, and not that I have any hatred towards episodes 7 and 8. It's just that the original trilogy, to me, is just more made for something like that. Although, the idea in my head of Jar Jar Binks written in Shakespearean style, and the Ewoks written in, well, I've already done the Ewoks, but like the Porgs written in a Shakespearean style, and if they give dialogue to the Porgs or something, that could be fun. That could be funny. So maybe I'll read them at some point, but I haven't yet. But for right now, I am very happy with these 3 books. I think they are great, and again, they're short too. They're fairly short. So they're good, fun, quick reads, creative idea, well executed. I highly recommend checking them out. I think they're great. If Shakespearean text is not for you, and you're not much of a Shakespearean enthusiast, you probably won't like these very much, but if you are, and you're also a Star Wars fan, I think these are must-reads. I think you got to read them, because I think, again, they're funny, they're quirky, it's a creative idea, it was executed well, and I enjoyed reading them. I think they're a hoot. So those are 3 books I will heartily recommend to anyone who's a fan of that writing style, a fan of Shakespeare, and a fan of the Star Wars movies, specifically 4, 5, and 6. So that concludes this review. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell down below so you get notified of all my other new videos, and be on the lookout for my next Star Wars review coming next month. So hopefully you all are looking forward to that. But that is all I have for you now, so may the Force be with you, and I'll see you all later.